right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today. The next Open Men's Pro Show is this weekend, the FIBO in Germany, and we just got the official competitor list for that show posted today. And I think this list was actually somewhat surprising. The biggest surprise of this list, Andrew Jacked is actually jumping in this lineup after his third-place finish at the Arnold, Ohio. But let's go through this list here. For the most part, it's names that a lot of you guys probably will not recognize. Dennis Friedrich, Jordan Gomez, Sas Harati, who just did the Detroit Pro. He was the runner-up to William Bonac that a lot of people felt like should have won. He had crazy conditioning there, so I think a lot of people are excited to see him compete again here in FIBO. You also have Edward Kargbo, Josef Kvetin, Mateusz Lewandowski, Justin Musial, Diogo Nunez, Chenedo Obieka, which is Andrew Jacked, who I don't think any of us knew was doing this show. And then finally, Sergio Oliva Jr., who was probably the biggest name up until today that had announced he was doing this show and has been posting some really impressive updates. We're going to talk about some more of his updates in a minute. But Andrew Jacked, I think this is a little bit surprising. I mean, typically the show that Andrew Jacked does every year to qualify for the Olympia traditionally has been that Texas Pro, which maybe he will still do, but I think now that he's on this list after that top three finish at the Arnold, I think he's certainly the favorite to win here, whereas maybe a day ago, before we knew he was doing it, I think Sergio Oliva Jr. was probably the clear favorite to win. So I think those guys probably will become your top three. Like I said, not that recognizable of names on this list, but I think Sas Harati obviously looked incredible in Detroit. Sergio Oliva Jr. in his latest updates, he's looking incredible. But Andrew Jacked, really good look at the Arnold Classic. Not quite enough to topple Derek Lunsford and Samson Dauda, two Mr. Olympia champs. But I think the main reason here is that he still needs that Olympia qualification, and that's kind of the name of the game. With these last couple years of the Olympia not having a point system to qualify, you gotta win a show to get there, which I think has become a good thing because you're starting to see bigger names do relatively smaller shows to win to get that qualification, and I think that was kind of part of the reasoning behind them getting rid of the point system to begin with. Like, for example, this is one example, this FIBO show with Andrew Jacked, but I mean in Pittsburgh, think about the fact, I think the big one is Nick Walker in Pittsburgh. If he doesn't win Pittsburgh, he's going to have to keep competing until he wins a show if his plan is to do the 2025 Mr. Olympia. So even if he's top two, for example, in Pittsburgh but doesn't win, maybe top two in New York, for example, but doesn't win, there's no points accumulated with that, so he's going to have to keep competing, maybe in the Cali or whatever. So I think you do see bigger names do smaller shows as a result of that. And speaking of it being a smaller show, I have actually heard that this FIBO show will not have a live stream. So this will be an interesting one to cover this weekend because, frankly, I don't remember the last Men's Open Pro show that didn't have a live stream in several years now, unless I'm just forgetting one. So it seems this might be one of those shows that we're watching entirely on Instagram. And looking at these latest updates from Sergio, he just posted these today, so this is the week of the show. I think Sergio looks great. He looks the main thing that jumps out to me when I looked at his latest updates is he looks massive to me in all of these recent updates. He's in good condition. He looks big. He looks full. And like I said, up until today when the competitor list got released and Andrew Jacked was on there, I think he was the favorite to win this thing. And it's interesting because I actually don't remember the last time that we saw Sergio and Andrew Jacked go head-to-head. At least nothing recent really sticks out in my memory where we saw Sergio and Andrew Jacked on the same stage. So at least this isn't a matchup that we see all the time, even though Andrew Jacked, I'm sure everybody thinks is going to win this thing just because he's such a big name, hands down. This is not a top two matchup that we've seen. Well, definitely not ever as a top two matchup, but we don't see Sergio against Andrew Jacked very often. Have we ever? Honestly, I don't think we ever have seen Sergio and Andrew Jacked in the same lineup now that I'm thinking about it. According to the IFBB website, the NPC website, Sergio's last three shows would be the 2023 Cali Pro, the 2021 Legion Sports Festival, the 2021 Arnold Classic, and obviously Andrew Jack was in none of those shows. And Andrew didn't earn his pro card until 2022. So I guess we've never seen Sergio and Andrew in the same lineup. Is that right? Interesting. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. I guess we have never seen it before. Okay, so I'm excited for this show now. This is something that we definitely don't see every day. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your predictions for this weekend's FIBO Pro Show? Now, next up in the news, this is an interesting one that we got today. So they announced a couple of things for the Masters Mr. Olympia this year, which is later on in the year in Tokyo. So what they released was two things. The first was their selected applicants. So these were people that applied to be in the Masters Olympia and got accepted. But there's another list in addition to this. So these are the names that they accepted, but not all the names that are competing. So I'll read you guys these first. So these are the selected applicants: Odilon Batista, Alexander Besedin, Marcelo Pedro de Cruz, who just competed in the Arnold Classic South America, Young Bon Kim, Daniel Corman, Walter Martin, Jung-So Park, Logan Robson, Mariusz Tomzik, Todd Whiting. So this is not the finalized competitor list. These are just the accepted applicants. They also posted this. Well, this was on one of their Instagram, or not Instagram, but YouTube live streams. I don't know how well you can read this, but I'll read it to you. So these are the guys that are qualified for the Masters Olympia in addition to the selected applicants. You've got Kamala Gargny, Max Charles, Phil Klahar, Fred Smalls, Kenneth Jackson, Brian Garrison, Christopher Sullivan, Slavoj Bednar, Brandon Harleton, Michael Eli, Hernan Tabernacki, Dorian Haywood, Ray Short, and Vladimir Agrievsky. And then, of course, we know that Brandon Curry said he was going to do it, but he's not on either one of these lists, so I guess maybe he has to do a Masters show first, win that show, and then qualify for the Masters Olympia, I guess. But I think this also kind of stifles, again, the Kai Green comeback rumors. There's no mention of Kai Green anywhere here. But it's weird. Like, I would expect Brandon Curry, having won the Open Olympia, to be on the qualified athletes list. So I don't know. And again, this Masters Olympia is going to be held on August 9th through the 10th, 2025. And it's going to be in Tokyo, Japan. So again, not the same weekend as the regular Mr. Olympia. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this Masters Mr. Olympia lineup. Now, next up in the news, we got another really impressive update from Michael Krizo today. Now under 5 weeks out from the 2025 Pittsburgh Pro, I would say at this point, this Pittsburgh show is becoming one of the most highly anticipated shows of the year. And Krizo is looking to make a comeback in a very big way here after his shoulder surgery. And just another example, just another update where I think he looks phenomenal, he looks massive, he looks like he's back in full form. Very full chest in this posing video here, but he did say he was training chest this day, so probably just very pumped. But again, I feel like after watching Vitaly Ugonikov, GoodVito, compete at the Arnold Classic South America this past weekend, I think he's going to have a hard time even getting past Michael Krizo. I think both of them struggle in the back poses. But from the side, I was talking about how GoodVito's chest looks really flat in some of those poses at the Arnold Classic South America. But when you look at this update from Michael Krizo, you're not seeing anything flat about him in the side shots. And I was even watching William Bonac's posing routine from the Detroit Pro because I feel like Bonac and Krizo are going to be almost certainly in the same call-out at this Pittsburgh show. And I feel like they're pretty neck and neck here, considering they're both top 7 Olympians at each of their last Olympia outings. And I think it's interesting with talking about GoodVito as being, potentially the next big thing. How is he going to do in Pittsburgh against the best of the best? Because I think GoodVito is really good from the front, and he's really good in the lower body. I think his best 2 poses, in my opinion, are the front double bicep and the abs and thighs. But in the side shots and the back shots, I feel like that's where he's really at his weakest. And when I was rewatching this video from William Bonac in Detroit, Bonac is probably the oldest guy in this Pittsburgh Pro lineup going against GoodVito, who's this young up-and-comer. And when you look at Bonac in this video, and you look at his back shots and you look at his side shots, I don't think Vito is beating him. Bonac looks insane from the back and from the sides at this Detroit show. I forget who it was now, but I saw somebody make this comment, and I thought it was a really good comment. They said that if you look at Bonac from the back when he's posing, his lats are actually so thick in that lower lat area, and that's somewhere that GoodVito really struggles with, that his lats actually touch his glutes at some points in the posing. In the back lat spread pose, in particular. And like my whole thing with GoodVito at the South America show was, obviously I think he won the show. Obviously I think he did enough to win that show, and it was no surprise to anybody that he won, hands down, unanimously, prejudging in finals. My thing kind of is that lineup, I'll just be frank, it was weak. Most of the names in that lineup are names a lot of us had never heard of, and a lot of them were just not in condition. They were not in shape, and I felt like the conditioning that GoodVito brought wasn't quite there either, and I still kind of wonder if he treated it as a warm-up show for the Pittsburgh show. But, you know, the honest truth is this was a weak lineup, and I don't feel like GoodVito stood out in the way that I thought he would. I mean, he stood out at prejudging in the sense that he looked like the clear winner. But, I mean, if you took, for example, the Derek Lunsford that we saw at the Arnold Classic and put him in that South America lineup, he would have made these guys look like amateurs just in terms of how their conditioning was. And I think conditioning-wise, Vito looked about the same, maybe a little bit tighter than some of these other guys, but these guys were really not in that great a shape. So my whole thing with Vito going into Pittsburgh is he's got to step it up in condition for this Pittsburgh show. He's already got some weak points, the back, the chest. If he combines that with this type of conditioning in Pittsburgh, it's just not going to work for him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. GoodVito versus Bonac, GoodVito versus Krizo. Who do you think comes out on top? Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, the latest physique update or series of physique updates from Nick Walker. And one of the things that I like about Nick is that typically in his physique updates, he doesn't seek out the most flattering lighting, what we like to call goon light, which is what he's using in these updates here. That crazy gym lighting that makes you look super gnarly. And I think that makes these physique updates stand out more than a typical Nick Walker physique update because he doesn't typically try to do this, but he's doing it here, and he looks pretty damn crazy. When I see updates from Nick like this, especially after seeing the South America show this weekend, I think it would almost be blasphemous to say Nick is not going to be in the top 3 in Pittsburgh. I think that top 3 is going to be Nick, Martin, and Derek. I don't know what order it's going to be in, but I don't think GoodVito is going to beat Nick Walker here. He might have better quads. He might have that kind of X-frame, V-taper, smaller waist. But you look at Nick from the back, you look at Nick from the side, you look at the fullness that he's got. I don't think having crazy quads is going to be enough to beat Nick Walker for GoodVito. If Nick Walker comes to this like I think he's going to come, in really good shape, like that classic, crazy, detailed version of Nick Walker, if we see that, I don't see a guy like Vito beating this. I don't see Krizo or even Bonac beating this. I think he's going to be top 3 for sure. It's just a matter of, I still think it's going to be a tough one for him to win, no doubt about it. I think you're going to see a Nick, Martin, and Derek top 3 call out for the Pittsburgh overall, and I think they're going to run these guys over and over and over again. I think it's going to be a very competitive top 3. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.